our Roadhouse movie review. Now,
Here we go.
Roadhouse dropped this weekend. We debated it on the show when the trailer dropped if we thought it would be any good. Not all of us had good feelings about this movie from the first initial that it was getting made or the trailer. But I said I would go into this and watch it, and maybe I'll enjoy myself. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think this movie, from the opening scene and the end of the movie, is a real turd. But the middle, I found myself being like, I don't hate this movie. I don't know why. But it ends terribly, and the beginning is horrible. So I think I don't know what that tells you about this movie from my perspective, but I want to get into it with you guys. Tell me what your initial thoughts were on Roadhouse. Duggan.
So, as you guys know, as a big proponent of this fucking movie, I've been pushing it for hardcore. I think it will win many, many, many awards, including Conor McGregor's Best Supporting Actor role.
Go really fuck yourself.
Really pushing for that one.
Yeah, the Lucky Charms man. I got you.
Hey, just because he's Irish, that doesn't mean shit, right? That don't mean shit.
He's frozen.
You know, I'm so appalled by that.
It wasn't even like him being Irish. It was literally how he delivered every Irish line, like he was his own like parody of himself.
He's a fucking terrible actor.
Yeah.
Oh,
terrible.
Dude, just awful.
But did you want him to be any better than he was? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think he, as bad as he was, and I will admit he was bad in this movie. I found myself laughing every time he was on screen in a good way. I was like, this guy, he's giving it everything he's got. He can't act, but he doesn't give a shit.
Dude, he never unflexed his shit. He was always walking around like this.
I don't know much about him, but is that just how he walks?
No, he walks like a normal person. Sometimes.
No, that's his walk. That's like his.
Yeah,
like,
but that's not like if he's just walking
not.
down the street, he's not walking like that. That is like his like persona when he's fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Duggan had to bail.
So
He'll be back.
I watched it twice. In the second time I was watching it, I thought to myself, what if we cut out 99% of McGregor's dialogue? And instead, you just had a mostly silent person with that creepy ass fucking smile. I swear to God, the movie would have been better and he would have been a scarier foe. At the end, where he walks up to Billy Magnuson and snaps his neck. Before he snaps his neck, he says, "What do I got to do to shut you up?"
Yeah.
Just take that out. He just walks up. The guy's telling him to kill him. He just walks up and he's just like, pops his neck, and then he goes back and he's going to stab him. Like, stuff like that. Like, he has some stuff. Like, I mean, like, do we really need the how about a dance? Done. I love this fucking song. I hate this fucking song.
I always want to go.
Where the fuck did everybody go?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, look, we got our own little octagon. Who taught you shapes?
The middle of this.
That was awesome. That was a good one.
The middle of this movie had me. I was like, I don't care how crazy Conor McGregor is, and like I understand maybe it's a disservice to the original Roadhouse, which I'm not allowed. This is probably gonna be a hot take. I don't even really like the original Roadhouse. It's okay. It's okay.
Dare you, sir?
But it's not one of my go-to 80s movies. It's not for me. It isn't. So
if you're canceled tomorrow, you know what did it. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shock you right now.
Yeah.
I watched the Roadhouse remake twice before I've ever seen the original Roadhouse.
Oh, Dan!
Did you catch the be nice that came out of McGregor's mouth of all fucking people in that last fight scene? You know, the nod to Swayze's intro as he's giving people their 3 rules.
I didn't hear him say be nice. McGregor said be nice?
He says be nice in that fight scene. And so, like, that's a nod to Swayze's 3 rules. One of the problems I have with this movie, and you know, is the name of the movie, because it's actually completely different. They could have made it a completely independent movie that wasn't called Roadhouse, that didn't have any of those nods, and it would have been the same fucking movie, and I probably wouldn't have the same vitriol that I have towards it, because there's absolutely nothing that really is related to the Roadhouse movie at all outside of those nods. Like that to me, it was like pointless nostalgia, and it was like we don't know how to make people watch this movie, so we're gonna call it Roadhouse. Is kind of how I felt about this movie.
I feel like they missed the opportunity for having Dalton in the new one come from Jasper instead of Missoula, Montana.
Yeah.
I feel like
Get
they
into
could have.
that.
Yeah.
I think that's actually where
changing-
he's fucking going. I think
changing
he's
the
actually
first
heading
name.
back that way.
Yeah.
I think that if there's a sequel made to this movie, right, he's hopping on a bus and heading back towards the American Midwest, and he's going to go ahead and be a cooler as he's going to different places, and he's going to go ahead and develop those skills, and then you're going to have a Roadhouse 2 in the original area.
I agree with you. I think this movie, it probably isn't, but I thought when I was watching this movie, this is the start of the legend of Dalton the bouncer or the cooler, because this is the first bar he's gone to clean up, and it's going to lead to him being that Swayze character from the original Roadhouse. Now, the movie did nothing to confirm that or pitch that to me, but I thought that when I was watching it. I'm like, I could see that because how everybody in the original Roadhouse like, that's fucking Dalton, dude. Everybody knows who that is. And they kind of do that to Jake Gyllenhaal's character this because he's a UFC fighter or ex-UFC fighter. But like for
Ex-murderer.
everybody's like, that's
Terrible.
the most famous bouncer of all time.
I got a question for you here. How about in this? How do they go from Dalton in the original movie being a qualified professional with a resume that does this places to a homeless ex-fighter with no qualifications?
I hear you, right? But my thing was like she originally went to that fucking bar to pick up Post Malone.
Yeah, she got no taste.
I think she just wanted somebody that was tough,
Dude,
could take a punch, and
dude,
could
I
punch harder.
Every single one of the hits, the punches, his kicks, they're all everything's slow like they should be, and all of a sudden they're sped up until the point where they actually is about to hit them. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
I got a question for everybody. Did they fuck on that sandbar?
Oh yeah, or on the boat at the very least.
Well, I don't know because when she dropped him back off, they were both very wet. They were
What
both
we saying they didn't
very,
roll around in
very
the water
wet.
a little bit, you know?
I mean, they were just sitting there, and
What-
then they
who-
started making out, and then all of a sudden, flash forward. I want to know where were the tits because
I wanna-
there's a ton of tits in the original.
Who lets their ex-girlfriend take their fucking boat?
She just
right
stole
there?
it. That's a
no
joke.
Shit. No shit that she stole it, right?
Hoyt
then-
Ambrose, that's who.
Then Dalton takes it
Hoyt.
and blows the fucking thing up.
Some cop's gonna be really pissed at me. Like he presses
Yeah.
the button.
It's in
Duggan,
water.
I
What
feel
am I
like
gonna scratch
Duggan. I
it
feel
with?
like you want to start defending this movie because you're chomping at the bit here. What do you got in defense of it? Because
Bro,
I
my
probably
pulse is at a fucking 190. I'm so mad at all of you. I'm like, I've been sitting here steaming for the last 10
Why?
minutes.
I told you I like
can't wait
I
to
like
hear
the,
it.
I
I
like
haven't
the
even
middle
said
of this
it.
movie. I
Why?
hate the
First
end.
of
I
all,
hate
this
the
is,
beginning.
this is a gangbang against me. All four of you. So all four of you can go fuck off.
No,
I haven't
Where's
got
the
nothing
rebel
to actually
All I
hit
heard
that.
from the
I want to
fucking
hear
chat
more.
was how bad this movie was. Bad this movie was. Then all of a sudden, you guys turn into a circle jerk talking about nostalgia and titties. All right, what do you expect this fucking movie to be? It's a jabroni fucking movie. You should know this going into that.
Duggan. I
No,
haven't said
it's my turn to
anything
talk.
about-
You shut the fuck up. I listen
I
to
haven't
you
said
talk.
anything about me not liking it.
No.
I watched it twice.
Yeah,
liked
you watched it twice for fucking nitty pieces that you were connecting, and you actually realized that you did like this fucking movie. So when we vote on it later, I want to hear you say at least an 8 out of a 10. Right? Because
I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. It's worth a watch.
first of all, with the fucking fighting scenes, it's CGI. No one's getting rapid punches in the face. Second of all, Post Malone is a musician. He's not some fucking athlete. That's why it looks like shit when he's throwing those punches. What do you expect him to do? If he was to get in shape, maybe he wouldn't notice those bitch-ass titties that he had, and it would have looked a little more realistic.
Pick
Like,
anybody
that-
else.
Down the line with everything. Yeah, this movie is called Roadhouse, and it's supposed to be a take on it. But think about the fucking first one. It was just some dude. He was a bouncer out of fucking left field. There was no backstory in him. At least there was some backstory on Gyllenhaal. Yeah, he was a dude. He was rich and famous. He got sent to the outskirts because he murdered somebody. That is at least something that you can deal with. The thing.
Listen, I like the middle of this movie. I told you, it's just the beginning and the end. I hated the Post Malone shit. I feel like you could have got any actor, any fighter to be in that scene. But like the fact that it was Post Malone took me out of it. I'm like, why the fuck is he here?
This
Again.
was definitely a paid fucking movie. Conor McGregor definitely paid money to survive fucking 8 stabs to the chest. And yeah, Post Malone probably paid to be in this movie too. But you have to have that expectation that this was supposed to be a guy's movie. Chuck, the things that fucking disappointed me is that they really could have went balls to the wall with this. Maybe they could have shown some titties like Den said. That would have been cool. But I really want to see. I really want to see people get the shit kicked out of them. There should have been more. It should have been over the top aggressive. Like someone's getting eyes gouged
The
out.
arm break wasn't over the top for you.
That was pretty gruesome.
I'm talking about some shit. Like this guy is he clearly doesn't give a shit about murder. So, and he was only in it for like the big fights, fucking around with JD Pidero's crew and whatnot. But it's like, if they could have at least had this been more of a deadlier guy than him teaching fucking young kids how to be bouncers. So, Kevin, when you were saying like this was like the backstory, completely agree, 100%. This man's making his way to old Patrick Swayze. And this was just the root of it.
Dalton commits fucking manslaughter by crocodile and doesn't get arrested.
I loved that scene. I loved that scene.
Nobody gives a shit about JD Pardero.
He was terrible.
He was a horrible person. I thought that scene was
not
so
a person.
Great. I
terrible
couldn't believe
actor.
it. I couldn't. I mean, I knew we'd see the crocodile at some point, but when it actually ate that man, I was like, "Holy shit!
God, his damn dog,
crazy!"
Like the one piece of evidence that would have like exonerated Dalton, he threw in the fucking water. Yeah. He's like, he tried to fucking shoot me. He's like, in the water it goes.
Yeah,
with the crocodile.
You know, but the old Chinese boatman was there. He heard the whole thing.
Yeah, this was a lawless place on the Keys, John. There is no police. This is just fucking law and order.
The bookstore girl and her dad are complete throwaway characters. They have no
nature
like, you can take them out of the fucking. You could take them out of that fucking story altogether, and it would have been
the money
the same
would
story.
have gone nowhere.
Well, they needed to have a Sam Elliott replacement, so apparently that's who they chose because
terrible.
They need to show him to have heart.
A harbor master or the bookstore guy?
The bookstore guy and his daughter. They were basically they turned into the Sam Elliott replacement.
They are
because the only reason he goes psycho.
Yeah, Dalton doesn't
with
kill
the bookstore and the girl.
Dalton doesn't kill anybody until after Sam Elliott gets murdered, and.
Right.
After
so the bookstore family was supposed to be that like, oh, fuck. But I mean, I don't, like I said, that was actually a kind of throwback to an 80s movie that I didn't mind. There's always those turns in movies where it's like, look, I'm turning the cheek until somebody that I care about gets killed. And I know he has no business to care about these people, but it's a kid, you know? Well, I didn't mind that.
So here's like where I go with it, right? Like, they didn't have time to tell that story because they did all the useless UFC shit that really didn't have anything to do with what was happening in Florida. It really didn't. It was just
talking
like
about boat dreams,
shit.
Like his flashbacks.
Yeah, his UFC, his boat dreams, all that.
Man,
shit where
his fucking whole backstory. Why he's an animal?
Jake Gyllenhaal shirtless.
The main fucking reason of the story. Yeah, that's right. But we didn't need that.
They do more in the original Roadhouse. They do more with Patrick Swayze not saying shit and just talking about how to be a bouncer, and then having Sam Elliott come into the middle of it and actually.
That's not what this is about. That's not what this movie is about.
They did more without having to say shit. They had to paint all this exposition in there that had nothing to do with the goddamn movie that was.
I don't even think they don't spend that much time with his backstory, though. The flashes are pretty quick. Like, if they spent like 6-7 minutes actually diving into it, I would agree with you. But
I'd say total screen time would probably be 2.5-3 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. I don't mind that. And like I said, it's not the 80s anymore. So you truly just having a guy show up like Patrick Swayze with no backstory other than Sam Elliott like dropping like, well, I fucking know him and this is why. Like, that shit doesn't fly anymore either. So I'm not sure that would have worked for this movie.
Well,
we all know Dave Hampton is trapped in the 80s.
I'm just saying the movie is better. It does more with less dialogue in that beginning scene because you see that he is somebody who understands how bars work. Again, this is just a homeless fighter that's never worked in a bar that's going to clean up the bar. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. And then the other problem I have with this whole get up is this movie would never happen today. because everybody posting on social media and that bar be closed the next day. This is not fucking happening. This movie is faker than like fucking Star
I'll say
Wars
this. Hold on.
because of that shit.
This
I
piano's
think
out
this-
soon.
Yeah, it's total fantasy land. We
piano's
gotta
out
make
soon.
up a fake place in Florida that doesn't exist.
Fucking
This isn't
terrible.
happening nowhere in the United States. Everyone's a
Dave,
pussy
you're
now.
so off key. It doesn't even fucking register on my ear pitch because I
Glass
can't hear.
key?
It's
Listen.
fucking crazy.
I think that this is a critique I have of the movie. I think that bar was so fucking nice and like so cool. I can't imagine that bar wouldn't be like central, like that. Even if you were trying to build a resort in that area,
Right.
you'd be like, no, I'm gonna keep the fucking bar. That bar's
Yep.
sick. I
I mean,
feel
like I might buy it and make it like maybe a classier joint, not a roadhouse.
even if you can't buy it, I feel
Or-
like that adds color to the
Yeah,
area.
They could have definitely built
Absolutely.
around it.
Exactly. That bar was so sick that I truly can't believe maybe it's again, I don't live in Glass Key, Florida. So for all I know, nobody goes to this place. But
I hear it's right next to Mar-a-Lago.
if there was a bar like that in my town, I'd go to it every fucking day because it's
Well,
wicked
to Duggan's
Oh,
point, there was literally nothing a mile to the left, nothing a mile to the right. Why the fuck did they have to build through it?
That's
Yeah, they
the
could
point.
have just
And then
built
if you
around
look at the model, the resort is like 2 miles down
on
the
the
beach.
peninsula.
And then
Yeah.
they cover over the fact that the beach off of the porch for the roadhouse is just all coral reef. So nobody's fucking swimming there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I get that. I understand that. But I'm going to say something that's going to piss some people off. I like it better than the original Roadhouse.
Can we establish who the real winner in this entire movie is? Right? Do you guys understand who that is?
the
It's
winner?
Big Dick. Big
Big-
Dick wins.
Oh, big.
He's
dick.
been taking money from the fucking guy pushing people out, right? And at the end of it, he doesn't have to worry about anybody saying shit because the fact that he pushes everybody out.
That's true.
Big Dick wins the fucking game the
Yep.
entire way.
That's
It does.
right.
If anything, this is a Big Dick success story. I'm
How
just
long
saying.
have you been waiting to throw that one in there?
He
The
did.
entire
He
time
does
the
get out
Nuggets
scot. I
have
mean,
been
think
going
about it. Everybody who knows that he's corrupt is dead.
He even gets the homeless derelict out of town and away
Right.
from his daughter. You're 100% right. Big dick
Right.
wins.
Big
Yeah.
Dick is the Big
Big
Dick
Dick.
wins.
This is a story not about Dalton, but about the Big Dick winner,
Yeah.
and that is Big Dick. What is Big Dick's first name?
Big.
I swear to God, I thought like the actor they cast to play Big Dick was dead in that intro scene where like they're just having him look forward. I'm like, did they just get like some dead guy to sit there? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
Exactly.
I thought for sure that was it, when that scene happened. I thought for sure that was going to be the dad who's in prison that like
Yes.
the corrupt cops took out of prison for him to have a conversation with Dalton. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then it was just the cop, and I was like, what the fuck?
I was actually half expecting CGI Swayze to like be like the cameo there or some fucking shit. Like you're like, what is
Swayze
happening
is
here?
Big Dick. Dude, it was just great.
I like the slap fight in the beginning of that movie. I thought that was really
That's a
cool.
good scene.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'll give it
He
that.
slapped the shit out of those dudes. He's like, "Oh, are you sorry? Are you okay? I just slapped you." And then he hits him again, and he slaps them all. And that one kid that was like, "I don't want to be here, man."
Yeah,
I
that's
love
so
that guy.
funny.
Yeah, he
He is
is
so
the most
funny.
likable character I've seen in a movie in a while.
I'll give this movie one nod right now. The fight scenes are better. It's better fighting. Like you watch Patrick Swayze's like not even like Daniel Sung kick in like
Oh,
the
yeah.
first movie. You're like, oh gosh, Patrick Swayze really can't fight. Like at least Jake Gyllenhaal looks like he can handle himself.
Yeah,
And like
I-
and even Sam Elliott with his bare knuckle boxing in the first one. I love the first movie. It's fun. There are some really cool scenes in there. As a bouncer, we even use those. Like you can't get guys' knees out, he can't do shit. He's got no gravity. But like in this movie, this whatever they want to call it, and the fight scenes made me want it called something not Roadhouse. Like all my anger about the movie comes from the fact that it's called Roadhouse and it's trying to ride the coattails of the original.
it's because you
If
love
it was its
Roadhouse so
own
much.
movie, if it was its own movie, it would have been fine.
And you call it Glass Key. That's the
Yeah.
name of the
Done.
movie instead of Roadhouse. And
See,
Dave would have been like, this movie was great.
I'm not-
9.5.
Nah,
I
I would
think
have
the
given.
slap-
I would have still given it 5.6. It's not Roadhouse.
I think the slap fight is great, right? I think the end fight with Conor McGregor is fucking terrible, right? I think it's trash, right? Sure, the shot to the throat and kill the guy, fine. I'll give it to you. Great. That works for me as well, right? I didn't think the fighting in this movie lived up to what you were expected to get from it. Right?
I thought
you
there'd be a couple more fights. I thought there'd be a couple
Yeah,
more
for
fights
sure.
that didn't
Well, I
happen.
mean,
but-
you watch that fight where Knox comes in, right, with the club, right, and he's got 3 dudes holding him, while the kid who's a amateur, like a pro-am boxer, is like, yeah, I did a little Golden Gloves, right? He's teeing off on his fucking stomach, and I'm like, and he just kicks him away, right? I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. That's ridiculous.
He was
I
all
do have
hopped
one
up on steroids during that movie, though, so that's why he looked so huge.
Oh,
He was
I
trying
agree.
to
Like,
he was trying to heal his leg, so he was on all the Jamba Juice.
well, this is something I said to Kevin, and then Kevin thought I was a little weird for it. I go, when you see Conor McGregor hop out of that Italian like
Stuck.
apartment, right,
Love
and
it.
he's walking down the way naked with his fucking like his loafers on, right, you can literally see that one of his legs is smaller, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, so like you could literally see it. Like, yeah, he's bare ass. It is what it is. By the
I
way,
was busy looking at his bum.
nice quads and nice glutes on that motherfucker.
oh
Right?
yeah, he's got
Where
great
did the
legs.
say-
phone come out of? Like that was the other part about that scene.
It
I
was
can
it,
understand.
it was in his
It's in his
sock.
sock. And when you
Oh.
first hear it ringing, you hear it ringing, and I thought to myself,
It's
In
up
his
his
butt.
ass.
it's,
It's up his ass.
And then all of a sudden he
Something
just
about
goes,
the-
bends over and pulls it out of his sock.
You
I was like,
know,
oh.
you know they would have never let that
Fantastic.
fly the UFC if he pulled that off his asshole.
That'd be hilarious if he did, though.
I meant like the movie.
It would have
though.
been better if it was like Danny Boy and he fucking pulled it off his
And
asshole.
I
That
also
would've
brought
been
up. I also brought
He
up.
just
this is the
zooms
fact
in
that-
on his face. He's like, "Hold on, oh, how's it
funny.
going?
Lucky charm.
Sorry, I'm not putting it too close to my face because it smells like shit."
He just
Knox-
came out of me pot of gold.
Knox doesn't know where the brake is on any fucking car that he drives.
This-
No.
Exactly, because he's
All
not
of
from
He just,
here.
he just drives them till he crashes them,
Yeah.
and he goes ahead and goes, "Oh, who put the fucking bikes in the way?" You know, you're like, "What the fuck, dude?"
I didn't like the last fight scene either. I agree with John. I think I don't know how to
He
describe
gets
it.
stabbed like 8 fucking times, twice in the upper chest here, in his lungs, right? And
I know.
And he's at the after credit scene. He just walks
Yeah, did
away.
you guys
He
watch the
paid
post
for
credit
that.
scene?
He paid for that.
No.
He paid for that. That's a
There's a
fact.
post credit scene, Dave, where Knox after like all of a sudden you see people get like thrown around a fucking emergency room, and then Knox comes walking out like bleeding and like bare ass, just like walking out of doing
Again.
his walk out of the thing. So he's alive. So
See, but here's the one thing, right? You're gonna call the movie Roadhouse. And this is the thing that ends that last fight scene between the two. McGregor's throat should have been ripped the fuck out. I mean, if you're gonna call it Roadhouse, you got to have the most iconic.
He
moment
hasn't
in the
learned
fucking
that
movie.
move yet.
yeah, he's
Yeah, he
saving
hasn't
that.
learned
He's
that
saving that.
And this movie isn't called MacGruber, okay?
He should have got
I
ahead.
love it.
Well, but
McGregor
where
should
did
have had the
McGruber
line
get it
of
from? Goddamn.
McGregor should have the same line that the guy had in the old one, right? I fuck guys like you in prison.
That's a
Yep.
great line.
That is a great line.
And then it would have like, I would be like, I believe it. Done. Let's go.
I want to
I
know.
will
at
say
that part.
the-
How did they not get like a, just like a quick glance, like, huh?
I will say the leg break in the original Roadhouse when that guy goes to do that kick and he gets it over the tree and he just goes and like bends it around the tree. Horrible. Like, why would you throw a kick there, dude? He's right next to the fucking tree.
Yep.
Even if you had missed and you hit the tree, like that would kill.
Well, I still think the arm break in the middle of the remake is insane because he has him bent and then all of a sudden he's just like
Oh yeah.
pop. Ugh. Ugh.
Yes, love
The
it.
the finger breaks are pretty brutal too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great
hell
scene.
yeah.
I actually
like,
like that scene a lot.
I'll tell you why I think I like this movie because I've watched a lot of like shit, like 80s like fight movies. And I saw
Great movie.
the attempt at these movies in the early 2000s, like Never Back Down. That movie sucks.
Great
Terrible
movie.
fucking movie.
No,
Fuck
Never
you.
Back Down's
Terrible
terrible.
movie.
Oh, horrible.
This is like somebody had a good version of one of those movies, you know?
I'll give
And
you
I think-
that.
And I think that's why I like it because I'm like, I've seen so many of these bad ones that I'm like, you know what? This one's actually not that bad.
So
I
you're
think
saying
this is
Tara Reid and American Pie good.
No.
if you're comparing it to other Tara Reid movies, then yes, this is peak Tara Reid.
Tara Reid. That's okay. That's how that sounded to me.
I also think the guy when he gets launched off that boat at the end of the movie, he's
Oh, horrible.
100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
100 feet in the air. he
fucking
should
just
wake
lands on
up.
the roof.
He
Yeah.
should wake up and not be able to move. Like if he's alive, I would have liked it better if Jake Gyllenhaal finds him after he kills Conor McGregor on the roof, and he's just like, "Get me to a hospital." Like, but the fact that he comes down and tries to shoot him with a spear gun is,
and he's inferior to Brad the Creeper Wesley that stares at people copulating across the lake.
that was his dad.
He's just an inferior character across the board to that. I mean, look, I hated that. It would have made more sense if they had him running drugs. That being real estate developer douchebag. He sucked.
You didn't like the Lex Luthor plot?
Who the fuck is trying to get a straight razored shave on a choppy seas fucking boat?
I hated that scene.
I
hated it.
On there?
I couldn't even watch it. I know it's a movie. I couldn't even watch it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fast forwarded until I saw him go over and punch the fucking driver of the boat.
That's so funny.
I couldn't do it.
That's the point.
I know. I couldn't watch that scene though. It freaked me out.
It's supposed to be funny.
It would have been better if the razor slipped and he was dead, and then the dad got out of jail. I'm just throwing that out there.
There you go. Yeah.
So
physics. Did you even need the dad plot though?
No.
I feel like the dad plot was kind of
because he's
useless.
trying to compensate for his dad and all his debts. That's why he needs a real estate development to go off.
No. I understand that, but I mean,
it needed the backstory for Big Dick.
Ooh, Dave, did you just say that's part for the sequel?
Of course it is. They're planting seeds for the sequel. I'm pissed. I don't want it, but they're doing it.
Knox is going to admit to killing his kid, and it's going to be again, Duffy. We talked about this.
It's going to be a buddy cop movie with Knox and fucking Dalton.
Yeah.
Big Dick is going to get his big dick chopped off at the beginning of the sequel, and he's going to be the loser of the sequel. And then the dad's going to be on a thing, and he's going to be pissed off at Knox and Dalton. And you're right. You're going to get the Lucky Charms guy and the emo Dalton, and that's the movie too.
I want the dad to be played by Chris Cooper.
Christopher Walken.
I love Christopher Walken. I would pay anything to see him.
I want it to be John Cena. I mean, I think that'd be great.
John Cena.
He's in the third one as the bad guy.
He's Dalton's buddy. He's the one who's going to come up and be like, "Oh, Dalton, he was fucking blah blah blah."
I think it'd be cool if he showed up dressed as Peacemaker.
Hell yeah.
Sorry.
So one more thing. Physics doesn't exist in this movie. No. Because obviously
it's in Florida.
I mean, here's a couple different things.
Physics stops in Georgia.
Yeah.
That's why Jurassic World's going to happen here. I get it.
Does he get hit by that car on the bridge? The first time when it first comes at him forward, does he get hit, or does he somehow magically launch himself into a flip?
I think both.
I think it brushes him
because then he somehow ends up in the flatbed of this truck,
right?
Which also makes no fucking sense.
At him. That backs at him.
Yeah, but he didn't jump. He would have ended up underneath it. Okay, fine. Then, how on God's green earth did he actually, while getting hit by the Zodiac boat, grab onto it somehow? How did he launch himself off of it to get onto the roof and climb down into the other boat?
That collision with that second boat, he would have been broken in half.
Dude, there's no way. And then at the same time, when Billy Magnuson climbs down from the roof that he got launched into because he went fucking GTA distance,
100 feet in the air. I mean.
He went, it was like he was in fucking GTA and it launched him. He gets down from there and then he forcefully, as hard as he can, pushes him spine first into that hard rail
table.
Yeah. How did that not break his back? Physics just doesn't fucking exist.
Correct me if I'm wrong. At one point, we were talking about Swayze.
He's indestructible. I don't even think he died from the next snap. He's going to be alive in the next movie.
What's more believable, that or ripping somebody's fucking throat out?
MacGruber did it.
The trickier rip is a legit
Don't you
thing.
fucking bring up MacGruber and try to compare that bullshit to fucking this.
He did it. Here's another comparison. Ready? So this is another reason why I think I like this movie. It feels like a Fast and the Furious movie with maybe, because Gyllenhaal is a better actor, better acting. I think so. I think that's why I like it, because I don't mind.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Fast and the Furious movies. Fast and the Furious movies aren't good, but somehow every time I watch them, I'm like, I'm having a good time, and that's ultimately what I felt with this movie. So
That's exactly what this
the
movie was
closest-
supposed to be.
Like, I hopped off the Fast and Furious train ages ago, right? And I get that everybody sits there and goes, they're fantastic, right? They get more preposterous as they go on. And
They
Kevin
do.
has admitted that, right? And I can't watch shit like that. I can't.
why?
It's
I
can watch a sci-fi movie for being sci-fi, right? When you sit there and say this movie is about cars and robbing trucks, and then it
It's
goes to
not-
go into fucking space.
It's about
It's
family.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man.
Smash
Listen,
that car through a
I
fucking
hate the
satellite
first. I
at
hate the first
24,000
three.
miles an hour.
I hate the first three Fast and the Furious movies. But
Those are the best ones. What are you
they
talking
are
about?
not. No way. This movie, they never got better than they
Fucking
did the fifth
garbage.
one. The fifth one's the best one. Whether in Rio, that's the best one. After that,
mean,
the
that is a
movies
good
were
one.
like, they consistently were like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Crazy shit. These guys are good guys now, and just go along with it. And since
The
then,
first two are
I
amazing.
like them, and because of that, I like this Roadhouse movie. So, Duggan,
Dude, you
this is
and
a
talked
movie I
about the
would have
magnet
trashed
shit,
had I not had this. Had I not had my acceptance of the Fast and the Furious movies.
All right. Are we going to do a final voting?
Yeah,
I can name
do a
5
rating
people
scale.
that could have done to replace that guy. 5,
Yeah.
right off the top of my head.
All right, John. Well, instead of that, why don't you give us your rating of this movie? One
just
1 out of
did.
10.
5.
Oh, okay. I thought you were actually saying
No,
you
it's a
thought
it's a
you were-
legitimate middle of the road movie, right? Yeah, it has its positives, right? But it's highly weighed up. It's got way more negatives to it. I don't know what to say. Like it could have been done better, right? Even if you take Conor McGregor's acting at face value, like being like he's never done this before, I sit there and go, yeah, he has some shit that's funny, right? But like, it doesn't make up for the rest of the fucking movie being hot garbage. I'm sorry. I hope there's a sequel. I really enjoy the fact that there's a hot garbage movie that I'm going to enjoy later on, right? Rebel Moon 2, right? And I can't wait. You know,
Hang
but-
on, wait. Before we move on to anyone else, do you agree that this is a better movie than Rebel Moon?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all.
Yeah.
You say that with hesitancy, fucking.
It's
makes
got
me
a
wanna
better
smack
fucking
my
story.
goddamn computer.
No. Rebel Moon's like Tara Reid at the end of her career, and this is
Yeah.
like American Pie Tara Reid.
It's got more backstory and a better story than Rebel Moon.
So you're gonna give it 5 Tara Reeds.
I'm gonna give 5 Tara Reeds.
5 Tara Reid.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, Dan.
I'm going to give it 7 Tara Reeds plus her left leg.
Okay, 7 Tara Reeds plus her left leg.
So
You
So I guess
enjoy-
like a 7.25.
okay. Overall, you enjoyed this movie then.
I enjoyed it very much to the
Okay.
point that I watched it a second time
Okay.
within the weekend.
There you
I
go.
watched it twice. I liked it.
You even said you thought it was better than the first Roadhouse.
I
which
did.
is- there you go. All right. 7.5 Tara Reid. So we're hovering right around
No,
6-ish.
7.25.
7.25. Okay. Dave, how many Tara Reeds?
Oh, you really want to go with me before Duggan? I mean,
Yeah.
so
I'm going negative, positive, negative, and then we'll
okay. So the Gyllenhaal Roadhouse with the homeless guy, like that comes out of nowhere with no credentials.
He's not
It gets a
homeless.
2. It gets a
see.
2.
He's
It
homeless.
gets a 2.
A 2?
If it was the Glass Key, then it's a 5. But unfortunately, it's not the Glass Key. It's Roadhouse. They tried to fucking give me all the nostalgia and tried to. Sorry, it can't even hold the jockstrap of Patrick Swayze's dead ghost. It is a fucking 2. It sucks.
Oh, wow.
Technically,
Harsh.
technically,
There's enjoyable things in it. I'm not going to say it's all bad. I wouldn't be mad about a sequel, mainly because hopefully they call it something else, and then I don't have to do it.
It'll be
But
Roadhouse too.
but I'm sorry, it's not Roadhouse. It's just UFC fighter in a random Florida bar. They could have the right name for this movie could have been Florida Man. Fucking give Netflix the money.
Florida Man.
I would watch
it's a
that
better-
so fucking hard.
It's a better movie. But I'm sorry, by making it the Roadhouse, by ripping off the original in places, but not in a good way. 2.
Okay. All right.
Technically, he is homeless, by the way, because his home car gets hit by a fucking train,
Yep.
He's a nomad. He's not homeless.
which makes you homeless.
That's what a nomad is.
No, nomad goes from place to place. Dave, read a book.
It's on a boat now. It's called The Boat.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like
He's back
that.
to being a nomad. He's homeless.
That'll
like
be the
The
name
Boat.
of the sequel. The Boat.
All right, Duggan, how many Tara Reeds are you gonna give this movie?
0 Tara Reeds. I'm giving it 5 Conor McGregor's.
You're giving it a 5?
I'm giving it
Out of
5
10.
Conor McGregor's.
5 out of 10.
Is that like 10 on a Tara Reid scale?
It's like an 8.
Okay.
All that shit talk. It's like, I'm not even gonna give it 10. It's like a
textbook, 'cause I
solid
have
8.
no idea what the fuck
Well,
you're
no,
doing.
I'm a fucking realist. I know what I was expecting. I'm disappointed that, like I said originally, I'm disappointed that it didn't have more of the kick-ass shit. UFC clearly was involved in the making of this movie, or else they wouldn't have Conor McGregor. They could have found anybody to fucking do this. So clearly it was a Conor McGregor thing. Clearly the UFC was involved. That's why all that shit happened. But yeah, they could have definitely had some titties. It was an Amazon thing. I mean, they fucking had fuck scenes in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They could have at least done that. Or they could have had some more killings. They could have had Jake Gyllenhaal fight more, I think. And unfortunately, Dave is so hooked on the old one. I agree in this point that they really just used the name Roadhouse for the name Roadhouse. I mean, yeah, they did have comparisons, which is all good and fine. But the reality is that this was a movie meant for dudes to go out and fucking just see the shit kicked out of somebody, just like UFC is. And I kind of think they missed the boat on that. They could have definitely done a lot more. Especially, I love UFC. I love seeing people fight. I love all the shit. I get all the big pay-per-views. But yeah, so hopefully they come up with the second one. I think that would be a good idea. I think building towards the Roadhouse, whatever, and he moves on to the next step. And so it almost has like that Reacher touch where then the essence of his name just follows him throughout the country.
Yeah. Okay. So 8. 8 for you. 8.5, would you say? 8 or 8.5? 8?
Give it an 8.5.
8.5. Okay. I think for me, probably about a 6.5. 6.5. I think it was. I expected so little from it because the trailer, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. This looks like it's going to be bad. That's why I thought the trailer made it look like it was going to be bad. And ultimately, like I said, with the end and the beginning, I had the most problems with. I thought it got silly at the end. But yeah, I hated the beginning and I hated the end. But like I said, in the middle of that movie where I was where I was just following Jake Gyllenhaal all around, I'm like, he's pretty cool. I like his character until he goes psycho pretty quick. But Dalton does that in the old one too, but there's more of a reason for it. But ultimately 6. I had fun with the middle of this movie. I think, like Dave, maybe if it wasn't called Roadhouse, it might have bumped it up to a 7 for me. I don't think it would have gone much higher because like I said before, I don't love the original Roadhouse anyways. I like it. I don't love it. So it didn't have to do much to win me over. It just needed to be entertaining. And the middle of this movie was entertaining for me. I thought the actors did good with what they had. Even Conor McGregor, who was half the time. I mean, I never have to watch any like Game of Thrones or any movie or show where somebody's talking with a foreign accent or an Irish accent or an English accent. I never have trouble following along. There were times where he was talking, I was like, what the fuck did he just say?
Yeah, he's got a thick throat for sure. Dude, the funniest fucking thing when he walked into the mansion, he goes, where the fuck is everybody? That was the funniest fucking
I laughed.
shit.
I laughed out loud.
So did I.
It was very funny, but
So I did the math. Average is a 5.85, which gives us a 58.5%. Rotten Tomatoes has the tomato meter for critics at 61% and the audience score at 56%. So we fall smack dab in the middle of that.
Look
shit.
at that.
Wow.
You see? That's pretty
So
good.
my
I think
cue
we
kept
fell
you guys
exactly
honest.
where it
You
should.
guys are all like inflating the shit out of this garbage.
If I wanted to inflate
I
I would
was
have
pretty honest with it.
I'm not gonna lie. The audience has it at 51.
56.
That's surprising to me that the audience, because like I said, the audience usually are
Dude, that
idiots.
is every Conor McGregor. That is every
There's more
Conor
people
McGregor
like
dick
me out
rider
there. They're
ever.
probably just hate scoring the fuck out of this thing because it called itself Roadhouse.
You might be right, but hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you like what you saw here, make sure you're subscribed. We're trying to grow this channel and every single subscription helps. You know what else helps? Clicking that like button. Click that notification bell. That way every single time that we drop a new bit of content, you get notified about it. If you like these conversations and you want to see the full unedited versions of them, make sure you go over and check out the Random Things podcast. We go live every Thursday night and it gets crazy. We'll probably get canceled before we get too big.